Sports Fanatics, I'm Taylor Phillips, and this is episode 3 of Taylor's Detroit Sports on Spreaker. This is a postgame edition of Taylor's Detroit Sports, the Tigers postgame. Tigers losing 9-3 at home in the first of 4 against the Cleveland Indians on Friday, July 18th, 2014. Victor Martinez made his return to the lineup, going 2 for 4 with 2 singles and a run. That's all he would do. The Tigers took a 3-0 lead early in the game on a sac fly by Miguel Cabrera, who later stole his first base of the season and since July 7th, 2013, a Torrey Hunter double, and a throwing error on a steal by Hunter at third. Anibal Sanchez pitched a flawless 6 innings, allowing only 1 run, only 1 hit. 3 hits, pardon me. But then he really tailed off in the 7th inning, leaving his pitches in the strike zone instead of sinking them down low. The Indians, he gave up a single, a walk, and another single before Nick Swisher would put the Tribe on the board with a 2-run single. Pinch hitter Ryan Rayburn would tie it with a bloop double down the right field line off of a struggling Ian Kroll, who only faced 1 batter. That was Ryan Rayburn's 500th career hit. He finished with 2 doubles and the RBI. Al Albuquerque would come on and strike out Jan Gomes and Chris Dickerson, but then he hung an 0-2 slider to Jason Kipnis, who took him deep for a 3-run home run to give the Indians a 6-3 lead. 4 of those runs would be charged to Sanchez, who took an obvious loss. Albuquerque then gave up another home run to Asdrubal Cabrera. That was back-to-back homers by Kipnis and Cabrera. That made it 7-3. Phil Koch gave up a double in the 8th, but that was it. Chad Smith gave up 2 runs in the 9th, including another Kipnis homer and a Swisher RBI ground rule double, making it 9-3, and that's how it would end. The game showed an example of why the Tigers are in so desperate need of much better relief pitching assistance. They could use anybody. Fox Sports Detroit pointed out the bright spot was Victor Martinez, and I had no choice but to agree with him because he's the one that came up with 2 hits. I don't know if he was the only one. Miguel Cabrera, that is, hit a single and a sac fly. That's all I know of him tonight. Got a couple articles to read to you out loud. The Detroit Tigers are simply pausing the clock by recalling outfielder Andy Dirks from his rehab assignment. From Chris Hyatt of MLive.com, whether outfielder Andy Dirks suffered a setback or simply an interruption in his progress depends on how one looks at it. But the Detroit Tigers didn't want the clock to keep ticking on his limited time on a rehabilitation assignment. That's the main reason the Tigers recalled him from his rehabilitation assignment this week. His time on the assignment is basically acting as his spring training. Actual spring training lasts for about 6 weeks, but rules limit the number of days a player can spend on a rehab assignment to 20. Every day is very, very important for him because he doesn't get that many, said head athletic trainer Kevin Rand Friday afternoon. We want to make sure we can get everyone we can, unquote. Dirks had been on the disabled list all season after undergoing back surgery in March. He started a rehabilitation assignment on July 8th, but the Tigers announced Wednesday that they recall him from that assignment, and then he would remain on the disabled list. The Tigers said the move was due to inflammation in his lower back from an increase in activity. And that's something nobody should do in a rehab assignment as they work their way out of pain. Rand said Friday that the type of soreness is not unusual for a player working his way back from the surgery Dirks had in March. Dirks went 5 for 16, 3 for 3 with a double, an RBI, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, and 4 runs scored in 6 games for Single A Lakeland before being pulled off the rehab assignment. He spent 8 days on the rehab assignment. Rand said Dirks is making strides in the right direction despite the events of this week. Quote, he's a lot better. He's moving in the right direction. It's kinds of things you go through sometimes in rehabilitation. Unquote. It's not clear whether Dirks will continue his rehabilitation assignment once he is ready to resume it. The reason he started in Lakeland instead of with AAA Toledo is because the AAA All-Star break was this weekend, or was this week. And again, the Tigers didn't want the clock ticking on Dirks' rehab assignment without games for him to play. He hit 256 with 9 home runs, 37 RBIs, and a .686 on-base plus slugging percentage in 131 games for the Detroit Tigers last year while battling a nagging knee injury. Dirks batted .322 with an .857 on-base plus slugging percentage in 88 games the year before. So, my take on that, I don't think it's going to be too much longer before Dirks returns to the Tigers, returns to the major leagues. I do agree with everything that Kevin Rand said about Dirks right there. That's just normal. We can't wait much longer, and we won't. Thankfully. I'll discuss more of it on the Tigers edition of Taylor's Detroit Sports Show on Blog Talk Radio. This is Spreaker. The Taylor's Detroit Sports Postgame edition, episode 3. The other article I was about to share with you right now, the Detroit Tigers will be careful with Victor Martinez, even though he feels great and is back in the lineup. That one, too, written by Chris Hyatt from MLive.com. The Tigers were cautious when it came to allowing Victor Martinez to take batting practice or to return to the lineup. Even though Martinez feels like his old self, they will continue to be a bit careful. You kind of hold your breath with this type of injury. Tigers manager Brad Ausmus said Friday afternoon, continuing the quote, but he says he doesn't feel anything at all. There's some things that he felt earlier. If he coughed, he'd feel it, and he doesn't feel it at all. He didn't feel it at all hitting. He took soft toss and he took early batting practice. He felt good. He's adamant that he's 100% and ready to go. Martinez suffered the injury June 29th in a game in Houston and sat three games before returning to the lineup on July 4th on Independence Day against the Tampa Bay Rays. But he played just 2 games before suffering a setback, then sat out 8 more games the final 8 games prior to the All-Star break. That time when I tried to come back, I aggravated a lot more, said Victor. Continuing the quote, It's not fun. If it's pain or so sore that I can't handle it, that one I wasn't able to do anything, not even run. That's how bad it was, unquote. He struggled to watch from the sidelines, even though the Tigers fared very well in his absence. The Tigers were 8-3 in the 11 games he missed. He said, and I quote, "It's fun, but at the same time, it makes you feel a little desperate too. You want to be part of it. I always wanted to be part of a winning team. But at the same time, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to watch what they did. No, he's not going anywhere." Unquote. Martinez probably takes more swings on a daily basis than any other Tigers player, but Ausmus asked him to scale back a bit on his workload. Ausmus said, quote, "I kind of cautioned him on not taking too many swings because he loves to swing. We'll probably be a little careful of him in the doubleheader. I don't know that he'll see both ends of the doubleheader." Tigers played 2 games this Saturday against the Indians on July 19th. Despite his desire to play, Martinez understood why the Tigers didn't rush him back into the lineup. He said, quote, "Nobody knows better than myself. Nobody knows better than how I feel myself. Now I don't really feel anything, so I feel pretty good about it." Unquote. Right now, V-Mart is hitting .328 with 21 homers and 55 ribbies and a killer 991 on base plus slugging percentage this season, and was originally named to the American League All-Star team, who won 5-3 to claim home field advantage in the World Series. I don't think the Tigers will continue that much longer to be careful with Victor Martinez, but they sure will keep an eye on him as they keep an eye on everybody else on the roster. Just got word that the Angels have claimed Houston Street in a 6-player deal from the San Diego Padres. Angels also got Trevor Gott, G-O-T-T, and the Padres got 4 players in return for 2. Taylor Lindsay and Jose Rondon, and right-handed pitchers. Lindsay and Rondon are infielders, and right-handed pitchers R.J. Alvarez and Elliot Morris. Terms undisclosed, as we would know. No signing yet. But that's okay. The Tigers were not interested in Houston Street. They were interested in trading to the Rangers for reliever Joakim Soria, who has had the Tigers' number in his career in general. And they could sure use him for better relief pitching assistance. Especially because tonight's game showed an example of why their bullpen right now looks beat up in general. Jabba Chamberlain and Joe Nathan did not get to pitch tonight. they've done really good thus far. Joe Nathan is signed to a 4-year deal worth $40 million total, 10 per year. Jabba Chamberlain is signed to a 1-year, $4 million deal. As far as I can try to recall. I have no words on the Lions, Red Wings, or Pistons in this quick podcast. Still no word on the Pistons and Kings further talking about moving Josh Smith in a sign and trade. No moves made by no free agent moves made by the Red Wings, and the Lions are just preparing for training camp at Allen Park with the veterans. Coming up after the rookies. The rookies start on July 22nd, and then on the 27th, the veterans come on. That actually includes the rest of the roster, the 90-man roster. Let me go ahead and fill up some more time here by looking at the Lions 2014 schedule at its entirety. And of course, the Lions kick off their preseason at Ford Field against the Cleveland Browns on August 9th at 7:30. That would be on WXYZ Channel 7. All four preseason games are televised on that channel in the Detroit area. Then on August 15th at 10 p.m., the Lions visit the Raiders. The Raiders. Then they're home against the Jaguars on the 22nd at 7:30. Then on August 28th, they wrap it up against the Buffalo Bills at 7. They kick off their regular season at 7:10 on September 8th. On a Monday, it's at 7:10 on ESPN against the New York Giants, who last year eliminated the Lions with a 23-20 overtime victory at Ford Field. Then the Lions play their first road game in Carolina against the Panthers at 1 on Fox. Then the Lions play home against the Packers on the 21st at 1 on Fox. Then on September 8th, the Lions visit the Jets. That's also at 1 on Fox. Then on October 25th, at 1 on Fox, the Lions host the Bills. Then on October 12th, at 1 on Fox, the Lions visit the Minnesota Vikings, whom their special teams coordinator is suspended 3 games for making homophobic remarks. About about somebody. Anyway, moving on, October 19th at 1 on Fox, Lions host the New Orleans Saints. Drew Brees. That's Drew Brees. Reggie Bush's former teammates. Then the Lions head to London at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time on October 26th. That's on Fox as well. They take on the Atlanta Falcons. Garrett Reynolds' former team. Week 9, the Lions have a bye, and then they return to action November 9th on Week 10 at 1 on CBS at home against the Miami Dolphins. Then they go on the road for 2 against the Arizona Cardinals at 4:25 on Fox on November 16th, and to Foxborough against the New England Patriots on the 23rd at 1 on Fox. Then on Thanksgiving Day, they feast against the Chicago Bears at 12:30 on CBS. They hope to put up a 2-game Thanksgiving weekend winning streak. A 2-game Thanksgiving winning streak. They beat the Packers on Thanksgiving 40-10. They blasted them. I remember Ndamukong Suh sacking Matt Flynn in his own end zone for a safety in that game. That was amazing. Then the final 4 games will go like this. On December 7th at 1 on Fox, the Lions trying to get the revenge against the Buccaneers at Ford Field. Then they host the Vikings on December 14th. Same time, same channel there. Same time, same channel for the last 2 games of the regular season, both on the road at Chicago and then Green Bay, as the Lions look to beat the Packers at Lambeau Field for the first time since 1991. I know it's just, Oh. Apologies, there goes my mouse. I brought it back. So, with their new coaching staff and Golden Tate and others, the Lions will try to do a much better job, and I know they will. So back to the Tigers. They will try to rebound from their 9-3 defeat at the hands of the Indians with 2 big wins in a doubleheader against those guys, against the Tribe. Tomorrow's game, make it today's game, will be starting at 1:08 on Fox Sports Detroit, and then Game 2 will be televised on Fox Sports 1 at 7:08. Drew Verhagen will start in Game 1, and then Max Scherzer will start in Game 2. Again, as I mentioned before, Verhagen was called up to chip in a doubleheader. But what I was thinking was trade Ian Kroll and Al Albuquerque to separate teams, one of them to the Rangers for Joakim Soria, and then trade the other to the Padres for Joaquin Benoit. Both Soria and Benoit are still pretty cheap, and they're pretty good. Benoit has pitched a few years with the Tigers. He had been their setup man throughout the past three years. So that's going to do it. That's all I've covered for episode 3 of Taylor's Detroit Sports on Spreaker, the post-game edition, Tigers post-game edition. I will talk to you again maybe tomorrow. TTFN, ta-ta for now. Something